Excellent connection. This is Gary of Gary Keep It Simple, and today is Wednesday, and it's Wednesday the 3rd of the 1st, 2024. This is a day that I didn't know we were going to necessarily get to, because being that sort of person, I assume take each day as it comes. So have I actually gone live? That's the question. Dropped on it now, and there I am. Well, hey, good. No, that's not it. That's an old one. Where's my new one? One day I'll get this right. That says it's streaming, that says it's live. So that says it should be happening. So if I go on there and boom, 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 click on live, do a refresh, and it's not there. So where the hell am I? Where are the whatever is it? Should be there. Should be there. View 0. Concurrent view 0. In stream. What's that say there? Stream now. No. It says it should be there, but it isn't. Is it my browser? I don't know. Why is it always a car crash? That says it's working. That says everything's happening. It says I've been on for 1 minute 33 and nothing is happening. Stream settings and everything says, right, if I go onto there, well, it should be there, and it should be live, which is that one, and I should be there. Oh, and I am now. One watching live. Let's click on it now. That's me. Oh, right, okay. Now I've got to do the normal thing with the sound. But I was a bit preoccupied before. Let's go with the headphones. And there we go. So that should now be me, which I will check. Hence the headphones. Yeah, that's about right. And oh, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is I was almost going to use my amateur radio license call sign there. This is G1 KTS from outside London, saying hi to the world. I could still do that, but I haven't got. Well, I have got amateur radio equipment, but you know, sometimes you put things to one side and you never see them again because life moves you on. What I do want to make sure, though, is that I've got the right settings on my microphone, so I'm just going to turn that up a bit. Ma. That's about right. Okay, right. So hopefully anybody out there can hear me. And how many we got? One. That's me. So anyway, I didn't schedule this. I'll tell you for why. Quite simply, I wasn't well today. I managed to go to bed last night feeling a little bit queasy. Woke up this morning feeling very queasy, and I wasn't sure until about 7 o'clock or so whether I was going to even do a live today. But I'm feeling fine, and I should be at work again tomorrow, which would be nice, because I enjoy my work. I drive a minibus for the local community, and people rely on it, which is why I felt pretty bad this morning about not actually managing to do anything. But, you know, hey-ho, when you can't walk in a straight line, you can't drive in a straight line, and you can't manage to hold your breakfast, dinner or tea or anything else you've had down, it's not necessarily the best time to be driving a minibus. Could just be me. You never know. Right, let's have a look. See if there's anything that makes any sense on here. No? Righty-ho. Done a couple of videos, and I've got a couple lined up. Now, the ones I've got lined up should be quite exciting. I've ordered one of those very expensive styli, or a stylus. Arm and a leg. Why is it one of the cheapest cartridges you can get that's of any quality has the most expensive cartridge, has the most expensive styluses? you go up a bit in quality, and so the VM or something, and they come with stylized options which are much cheaper, but then you've got to pay more for the cartridge in the first place. And when you buy a turntable, you get what comes with it, whether you want it or not, unless you talk to people nicely. And that's an old-fashioned thing from the days when you could buy stuff in shops, and you could just simply go in and say, I would like to have one of these, please, and can you change that for that, because that would be good, and can you give me a discount on the, so you only pay for the difference. And they used to say, yes, fine, that's great. Or in the old days when I was first married, mains plugs were never on anything, so what did you do? You had to buy a mains plug. You'd buy a toaster for £6. Well, no, actually, toaster would be about £18 40 years ago, and then they'd charge you £2 or £3 for a plug, and that was always not a good thing. So I always used to say to them, all right, if you want me to buy the toaster, you can give me the plug. And then they used to go and talk to their manager and come back and say, yeah, okay. And if they didn't, I'd go to another shop until I found one that did, because I was an awkward whatnot. But it's just one of those things. Life has changed nowadays. Everything's on Amazon. And also in the UK, at least, everything comes with a mains plug on it. If it's consumer equipment, if it's professional grade stuff, it doesn't necessarily have to. If you get some of the lights and things for the sort of flashy spotlights and stuff that you can get, they come without plugs. So you still have to be able to fit a plug. It's just not something that's very obvious. So that's that. Got a little job which is right in front of me here. Actually, I'm going to just wave something at you. There you go. Look, it's a VHS cassette, but you may notice that it, if I hold it there, you might be able to see amongst the fading, it's written in Japanese. So I've got to transfer using what I repaired. There's a video about it, video recorder, and I'm going to transfer that to a PAL video, because my machine, don't know if you may or may not be aware, Japan, although in region 2 for DVDs, they use NTSC the same as the Americans do, and therefore their tapes don't play on our machines unless you've got a multi-standard machine. I've got a multi-standard machine, it plays it out fine, but the trouble there is you've got to then actually convert that to a digital signal, and we have the problem that we're UK. I mean, obviously an American grabbing software wouldn't have a problem with it, but then you'd have an American playback machine. So my playback machine quite happily plays back an NTSC tape. Pardon me. Told you I wasn't well. Anyway, my PAL machine plays back an NTSC tape, but it plays it back in PAL 60, which means you've got the wrong line and frame and everything else. So you end up with black and white. And there are ways involved in getting it into colour, which I will investigate. I will start off with the way I can do it, and then I'll see if there's other ways that people who haven't got the necessary piece of equipment that I've got can do it, because my piece of equipment happened to be something that I bought many years ago, and it just happens to work well. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing. I've ordered up a horrendously expensive cartridge, stylus, as I said. 36 quid for a stylus when you can buy the entire cartridge with a standard stylus for 25 quid. And according to Recordology, you can get them for a tenner. So I don't know, maybe I'm buying them from the wrong place. But I did search all of the various eBays and whatever to try and make sure I was paying as low a price as possible. I could have bought one from the States, but that was, I think, was $36. But $17 or $18 in transport, postage costs, plus import duty. Because we've never been part of America, so we've always had to pay import duty on anything over 18 quid, which is just one of those things. But there we go, that's it. So I've ordered one from a UK supplier, which is 36 quid. I find it I'm aggrieved by the £36, but I will go with it because it's a 78 stylus. It's sold as being a 78 stylus, and it's the only way I can get one. Anyway, that's that. Now, what else was there? Obviously, it's been a couple of weeks. I hope everybody's had a good Christmas and holiday season. Winter solstice and all that happened, and whatever part of the world you're in, there was probably something special that happened over the last month, because that tends to be what happens with all the different things. Everybody likes to try and have a bit of fun in the winter. So, I mean, Christmas started off as a winter thing, and the Church of England, not Church of England, the Roman Church attached it to the pagan festivals that were happening, and that's how we ended up with the date. It's a nominated date. It's obviously around about the time that things were supposed to have happened, but as I understand it, and I'm not being sacrilegious, it was they had to pick a date, so they went for that, which is why, of course, the Orthodox churches go for, I think it's the 12th of January or something, but don't flame me if I'm wrong. But if you do know what the date of the Orthodox Christmas is, then please put it in the comments below. It would be of interest to some people. And so it's a nice time of year. Generally, most religions are having nice thoughts about each other, and mostly about the human race. So apart from a few obvious thorns in the side of the world, I'm not going to get political. So anyway, that's that. What else is there? This year is going to be a big year, hopefully, for my channel. I've been getting some good viewing figures, if anybody's interested, and some nice comments. So please keep it up. That's good. If you want to do me a favour, then get your friends to subscribe and get them to watch. That would be nice. I haven't gone down the commercial line of doing memberships and stuff because, well, I haven't got enough people yet to do it. And I don't think it's fair to do this teasing and everything. Not initially anyway. Later on maybe. But I want to get the channel to be up and running. I want it to be the sort of place that you can drop in and either have a chat on a live or even in the comments, ask for some help. And if I don't know the answer, then maybe somebody else does. And I will always try and point you in the right direction. It's just one of those things. Always been that way inclined. So, if you want help, ask. And if I can, I will. I can't say any more than that. Right, and looking at everybody else, it's been a bit of a quiet time on YouTube at the moment, I think it would be fair to say. Obviously, now, yes, one of the things got coming up. One of the friends of the channel has sent me some files, which I'm going to go through. And so we should be able to find out some facts and figures about records. And that should be interesting to those that want to know about records. And there's another couple of items which I've got. Oh yes, mixers and subwoofers. They're interesting to some people. And it's even if you're not directly connected to the use of them, it's sometimes nice to. Well, I'm one of these people. I'll pick up a brochure when I'm in wherever, and it could be about an earth mover. In which case, I'll read it, and suddenly I know that the Caterpillar earth mover uses 1,000 litres per day for 10 hours. So that's a lot. That's 100 litres an hour. Stephen, hello. How you doing? Just saying, I'm going to be looking through those files that you sent me. Haven't had a chance. Not been well today, and I had intended to look at them today. So, hello, welcome. And so there's some exciting stuff coming up. If you've just come in, you'll have to go on the rewind, or actually no, I couldn't do it. Video transfer, NTSC, VHS, PAL, and very expensive stylus. I'm sure you know what I mean by that, Stephen. Very expensive stylus. And Egil. Oh, hello, Egil. I love mixers, can only afford really cheap ones, but then I'm cheap too. I don't honestly. I agree with you there, Egil. Not that you're cheap, but my wife wanted a. She said to me she wanted for Christmas. She wanted anything that would help her with her singing career. So I bought her a couple of pieces of equipment and a personal gift as well. And one of those was a mixer, and yeah, it's quite good fun. But I tell you what. Now, what do you reckon on cheap audio cables? Because I bought this. Now that, hold it in front of me, is not a. They claim to be well made, and if you look on Amazon, Behringer, yes, they're very good Behringer stuff. I bought a, don't know what it is, but it's got digital processing on it as well. You'll find out when I do the video on it. But yeah, bought this cable. Now it's a 3-meter cable, and it's to connect the main amplifier unit we use, which is a QTX. Not expensive, but not cheap, and connecting it to a subwoofer, which was expensive and is not cheap because it's a commercial one. And I'd used a 20-meter cable that I had lying around. I just happen to have 20-meter audio cables lying around. Actually, it's a video audio cable. And hello, Kelvin. How you doing? So yeah, I plugged in this 20-meter lead to connect the box that was there to the box that was there. So figuring that you know how whenever you buy a lead, it's always too short. You can think, oh, that's a 5-meter lead I need for that, and you know they're only 2 meters apart. And then when you've wired it, when it's gone all round a bit, you're always that much too short. So I thought I'd get a 3-meter lead to replace the 20-meter lead that I didn't, which was from a previous project. And actually, it was for feeding my skybox from the kitchen into the living room. In the days when we had skyboxes. So I bought this lead. Nice, Rhino cables. Lots of words on the thing about it. Plugged it in, and it went hum. Plugged it in the other end, and it went hum and tick 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 tick. Digital switching sounds. So thought this isn't right. Particularly since it's plugging it into a sub, we shouldn't be making that sort of noise. So plugged it in again, and it still did it. So made sure everything was correct, tried it again, still did it. Put the original 20-meter lead in, it didn't do it. Yeah, I've never had a problem. I mean, I always used to make my own leads, Stephen, so... so if you've got more stuff to go in, so you can send me some more files in, and we can do a proper comparison. Yeah. So I've never ever had. I've always made my own leads because you couldn't buy. When I was originally involved in this on a full-time basis, you couldn't buy leads. You had to make them. You could buy connectors. It's in the days when you used to go to places like Maplins and stuff and go and buy proper connectors and things for not a lot of money and lengths of cable. So I always did all that. But I bought that thing, and it was picking up digital noise. So I thought, I don't know, what do I do now? So I went and got the one off my turntable. You may have seen the video on it. Brand new cable off the turntable, and I went and plugged that in, which was only 2 meters long. Perfect. Just as good as the 20-meter long one. No problem at all. So I went back to this one, which was only 3 meters long, and when you plug it in to the back of the QTX, it goes noisy. And then I start moving it around. And the digital switching noises it was picking up was from the mixer we were just talking about. And the hum, I don't know where it was, but the flipping thing is acting as an aerial. I'm surprised we didn't pick up the taxis. So I got my meter, and I did the checks. I made sure that there was an earth on both of them. They're actually independently earthed, which isn't always a good thing. Yeah, so I looked on there, did the red to red and black to black, and that was all fine. It was 0.2 ohms more than the leads on their own, and I checked that there was no shorts and all the rest of it, and plugged it back in, and it still acted as an aerial. And if I tell you what, if I could patent it as an aerial, it would be great, but as an audio connecting lead, it's rubbish. So I've had to order some more up. And Amazon are on very slow delivery at the moment. Ordered them day before yesterday, and they're coming, and they're coming on 6th, which is more than your average next day delivery, but there we go. Well, Stephen, you say my better ground not connected. You'll never guess what I thought. I thought exactly that. But as I say, continuity-wise, they do connect. They do. The shields of them come out, and the core of them read out, and they don't read any sort of shorting. So without taking it apart to find out, which of course they're mouldy cables, and I want my money back, I don't know. But I just thought I'd point out that you can buy duff leads, or you can have duff leads, which make no sense at all. So I've ordered up some. I've ordered up another one. I didn't go for that because it was cheap. It looked like it was good, but I didn't pay a lot of money for it. It's about £6. So I've ordered up an Amazon Basics one now. I thought you could go with that. But if you actually go onto the Amazon site, you'll find that all of the leads people are moaning about, some of them humming. So if you click on any of the RCA to RCA leads, even the expensive ones, and then click on the 1-star reviews, you'll see people saying, I ordered the wrong lead. Well, that's their fault. I don't know why they're giving it a 1-star review because they ordered the wrong lead, unless, of course, it was misleading. And on the other one, they'll say, plugged it in and it hummed. Eggle says, I buy cables from places like Foman, and if you don't buy the cheapest ones, they are pretty good. I've never gone for the cheapest of things, but I've never gone for the expensive ones because, I've seen monster cables at £150, and apparently they're not the most expensive either. But yeah, I like to buy ones that are suitable for the job. So I was going for moulded cable, but looking at these, it is cheap. So the Amazon Basic one has got the proper that bit covers up the actual connector part as well. So watch this space. I'll tell you next week whether it worked or not. But it was just a bit weird, Right, so Kelvin says, I have measured them at around 12 volt. I've got that heart thing in the way again. Let's go on to there. I've measured them at around 12 volts. A DMM resistance test only puts millivolts through the resistance. Yeah, that could be what it would be. It may well be that. It may well be that. Like I say, if it was something that I had myself, it is. I did try, but what I thought was interesting though is the 20 meter lead plugged in one end, the end that was making the hum, where the humming was coming from, and not the other. So you'd have thought that was an error. That only produced a gentle hum. It didn't pick up the stuff. So I'm wondering whether the actual cable has got something wrong with it. Don't know. We'll never find out now, but I just thought it was something that was of passing interest anyway. Test light or so, yeah. The whole point of buying them was so that you didn't have that problem. But I think I might go back to making them. Many years ago, many years ago, when I had my shop, and things like switch boxes didn't exist, I had a chap walked in with an Akai. I might have said this already. He had an Akai 14 or 4000, whatever it is, reel to reel, and he had a very nice turntable, and he had one amplifier and only one input, and he wanted a box so he could switch in and out and various things. So I ended up with, I I ended up with 2 rotary switches which I wired up for him, cost him a fortune. But you couldn't buy that sort of thing in those days because he needed to be able to have in and out on one, and he needed to do something else to the other. I don't know. I forget now. It was a long time ago. But yeah, you couldn't buy switch boxes. That was in the days when you could buy commercial stuff, literally genuine, arm and leg for the commercial industry, or you could buy the bits. So I bought the bits, charged him the time involved in making it, which in those days was, I used to charge £25 an hour. Those were the days. It was, I didn't charge him straight time. Right, RCAs are always a bit of a trick, I guess. What I find with RCAs is, and this could just be me, let's see if I can do something about the spacing on there. What I find with RCAs is they are a nice, it's definitely intended to be there. They're a nice simple way of connecting, and obviously the Americans gone for it. Presumably I always liked DIN leads. I liked DIN leads, but I hated DIN leads. But the good thing about DIN leads was you knew that if you had the right lead, you plugged it in, it worked. And mostly all your levels were correct. It was only when people started using DIN leads for things they weren't intended for. And I grew up with DIN leads, 5-pin DIN, 7-pin DIN, etc., etc. And what we used to call phono leads, or RCA leads, were a strange thing. That they were a bit exotic, like getting records with holes in the middle that were too big for the spindles because they came out of jukeboxes. It's funny how things that are internationally accepted and standard aren't necessarily international and acceptedly, a standard. I mean, Recordology's doing a booming trade, selling his 45 adapters, which he doesn't send over here because of the tricks and traps of exporting and importing and stuff. But I don't suppose he's got too big a market in Europe and the UK, for the simple reason that unless you're going to start pushing the middle out your own 45s, there is no need for one. And I know how the 45 argument started with the 2 companies slogging it out, but you'd have thought they'd have got over it by now. And we never got involved, so there we go. Got one of those switch boxes in the basement, 4 to 1, I think. Yeah, I've got on my system, which is why I've got the new turntable, because I've got 4 cassette decks, 5 cassette decks, and 1 input to the amplifier and things. And I wired up it's all in the cabinet. You've seen the cabinet if you've seen the videos. And I've got a switch box. I've got switch box into switch box. So you have to remember which one. I couldn't. To be honest, I couldn't do it now. I'd have to go and rework in my head how the connections work. But basically, you switch one and then you switch the other because you've got the ins and outs. Gets to be fun. If you watch my video on how to connect an amplifier, which is doing very well actually, gets a lot of good comments on that. But one bloke said, "Oh, there's too many diagrams and too much." Well, sorry, but it's very difficult to give a simple answer to a simple question when there are so many variations. But, so that's that. What else is there that is of relevance? Don't know. I've forgotten now. I had a whole list in my head. Right. Anything from you guys that's of any chattable value to you and to me and to everybody else? More than happy to have a conversation about anything, or you can have a chat amongst yourselves if you like, and I'll just sit here and watch and read it out for the people at home on the podcasts. Kelvin, I'm going to have to up my game. I've got 3 connects connected to the live system. Yeah, no, I went for 5 because I wanted to connect everything up so that it could all work one way or another. And then I started taking it apart. Interestingly, though, has anybody seen my... Mrs. Curl won't be pleased. Well, you see, that's the whole point about the boxes. It's just, you just poke it out the front and all the wires around the back. To add to all the other wires you've already got, I know. Did anybody see the thing about the speaker? The Bluetooth speaker I did? Or is it all a bit too fresh? Because I've got... haven't got it here. The sound core, really good. I was really impressed with the. I was impressed with the video I made on what it sounded like using. Sorry if you've got headphones on. Using that microphone, it proved to be quite a good sound coming through there. But yeah, that's the reason I mentioned that is because I've got that because I can't get to my speakers and system properly because I'm always pulling it out for the various cassette deck tests and things. Yeah, I tell you what, if you be careful which one you buy. Be careful which one you buy because there are 2 listings on Amazon for the same product. One's 55 quid, one's 35 quid. Make sure you go for the 35 quid one, but click on my link if you want to go and buy one, and then do it down there. But if you want one with external input, that's not the Soundcore 3. You want the Soundcore 2. But it's it's pretty good. I'm very pleased with it, and the intention is that I can actually listen to records where I am instead of having to go to where the system is, which is more often than not in bits and pieces. So that was that, and very pleased with the results so far. Very pleased. A lot of people that we know went for the Soundcore speakers because the ones with the external inputs, because they were playing things like harmonicas. There's this thing, people they like to play their harmonicas into microphones and then shove them out into amplifiers and things. But they find, they've got this really neat little musical instrument. There's an irony there. Right, a harmonica is a basic diatonic is about the size of a cassette case. Yeah, okay. So they buy this really neat little instrument. In fact, there is one there. Look, there we go, little diatonic harmonica. And one day I learned to play one. Yeah. Anyway, so they've got this really neat instrument, and then they say, "What can I do with it?" And they play it, and they learn to make a few tootly tones, like I did. And then they say, right, okay, what do I need with it now? So they buy a microphone, and I won't do it to you because I don't want to destroy your ears. But they connect the microphone up, they sort of cup. Let me move it up. They cup the microphone, and then they blow, and they make sounds so they can be louder. You can have it back now, Mrs. Thank you. And so they do that, and then they buy themselves a Fender amplifier to go with it. And then they realise that actually this cute little instrument is now taking up exactly the same size as basically an electric guitar. So what they do, a few of our friends who we saw, have you seen this? Because my wife had a Soundcore, and they've discovered that they can plug into that, and well, hey, they're well away, and it fits in their pocket because it's about the size of a brick. If you've seen the video, you'll know what I mean. A small brick. So I don't have any Bluetooth gear to make it worthwhile. You have a We Are Rewind. It's just a thought. But you can always buy a Bluetooth transmitter. Because if you've got a good Bluetooth transmitter, Kelvin, you can put it anywhere. I've only got Bluetooth receivers. I did do some transmitting stuff, but your phone's got Bluetooth on it. And that's the other reason I wanted this speaker, was because, as I said to my wife, yeah, okay, I won't get a chance to play records that often, but my car has not got an auxiliary input. It's got only, it hasn't got Bluetooth either, because it's old. It's like me.
I use mine in the car when in car stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, so I haven't got any in-car stuff. My wife has got a car which is a bit temperamental about it because they keep on upgrading things, and so she uses her one not only for plugging stuff into and whatever, she also uses it in the car to play her phone when she's learning tunes and stuff. So I thought, well, that'd be a nice idea, because I like to listen to the... You may or may not be aware, for those that aren't aware, live in the suburbs, in the sticks, and there are hills and things in the way. So when we're trying to listen to the radio, DAB doesn't work because there are hills in the way, and FM doesn't work very well because, funny enough, there are hills in the way, and AM isn't a very good coverage, mostly because I think somebody put a hill in the way, but also there's not much on AM nowadays, and I won't listen to AM anyway because it's naff. So I used to listen to in my Renault, which had an external lead. I bought a little Bluetooth adapter jobby, and I used to play my phone into it, and I used to use my phone's data to listen to the radio. And I couldn't do that when I got this replacement car. So now I'm going to use the Bluetooth speaker in my car as a way of listening to LBC and other stations that have a habit of fading in and out around here, which is 99% of it. Even Radio 2 has problems, because although I've got an RDS radio with the, it does the frequency hopping, it runs out of frequencies to hop to because there are hills in the way. That's what happens when you live in the Chiltern Hills, I guess. Now, I can't read that one, so I've gone to there. Let's go on to there. Right, okay. So Kelvin says, can't get it to connect to my car or my computer. No, hang on. Let's go back. Kelvin says, don't have any Bluetooth gear to make it worthwhile. And Eggle says, just put a cassette from 1969 on my B&O from 1985, donned up with DIN cables and mass. Yes, that would be. Always had problems trying to get the signals small enough when you came out of RCA to go into DIN. That was the only problem I found with them. Of course, the original equipment used to come with both. Some of the original Japanese equipment. Kelvin says, me too, so that's about a lack of Bluetooth gear. And then he says, I can't get it to connect to my car or my computer. Yeah, that's the problem we have with the computer, with our car. It's a bit funny. Stephen says, my wife wants me to buy an SVHS next month. Wow, that sounds like a nice idea. And then he says, so should have connectivity then. Yeah, we used to have connectivity. When we first got our car, it connected beautifully to all the phones that were current, and then they did a couple of updates to our Android, and it started getting a bit fussy, but it used to connect eventually. And then we got new phones, and it connects sometimes, but I don't understand why sometimes, because you'd have thought it would either would it's digital, should either or not. But anyway, Kelvin says, I know your Radio Black Spot wall from when I used to commute from Wendover to Fleet. Yeah, I mean, we actually live on top of a hill. Do you know what? I had a Sony Profil, this is going back a few years now, which was a multi-standard TV monitor. And I fed it from a video recorder tuner because I was a bit of a tightwad. I haven't spent that much on the monitor. I wasn't going to pay for the actual receiver part of it, which was almost as much again. And I used to feed it from a video recorder, and it was great. But do you remember in the old days when you used to get foreign interference on the analog TV? And we'd be sat on this hill. We could get London quite well, but we could get Belgium superbly. So it used to walk right over the top of the London signals, and yeah. So all the phasing, we used to get coloured interference on a black and white picture. So we'd get the picture we'd be watching would go into black and white, and then we'd get the colour from the Belgium or from the French channels walking over the top of it, because the TV was quite happy to decode CCAM, PAL, NTSC, you name it, it used to decode it. It just wasn't very happy with the signals from London which were getting walked on. Irritating to say that. Stephen says, the old Sony receiver picked up 3 FM stations on a good day. The Yamaha tuner picks up 35 perfectly. Aha. I'm guessing that you have a problem with your Sony receiver. It's quite interesting when if you watch Recordology's videos, a lot of what he does is radios, and it's quite interesting how, given that he's he's moved, so he's in Florida now, but he still hasn't got very good reception, and neither has, come to think of it, neither has Techmoan. But it's interesting when they get different radios in, how some of them do come to life, and others just sit there and you think, it should do better than that. And that's normally what they say, of course. I've got I've got a video about beat frequencies, quite an old video now, and where I use 2 clock radios to demonstrate how the IF frequency, you can walk one on top of the other, and it's interesting how those used to be a problem, because you used to have a problem whenever you put a radio on, put a telly on near an AM radio, and it used to interfere with it, and quite often FM radios as well. But that doesn't seem to happen so much now, because it's all digital and it's all lower power and stuff. I don't know. Were they the good old days when a motorbike used to drive past and your picture went plickety plickety plick as it went past? I don't know. I'll keep on going on some of these Facebook pages where people, oh, the good old days, coal fires and all this sort of thing. I'm thinking, I didn't like coal fires. I mean, they were nice. You walked into a room, there was a coal fire, it was okay, but living with them was hell, But maybe that's just me. Used to like doing the toast dough on the end of a fork, attached to a stick, and then hold it in front of the grate. And also used to stick the potatoes in, and when they were glowing, you knew they were done. And if you didn't get to them soon enough, there was nothing left of them. That was always fun. Used to do that with when you went camping as well. Throw them in the bottom of the bonfire, and try and keep an eye on, make sure that you could tell the difference between the bits of old wood and the potatoes. Those were the days. Right. The old one was slightly better than the Sony, but not much. Have you noticed? Now, here's a thing that I know there's enough experience on here to be able to come up with an answer to this. There's been a lot of people suggesting that digital tuners are not as good as analog tuners, and I throw the question out there because obviously a lot of opinions are based upon what angle you look at them. For instance, what's the best cassette deck in the world? The one that you've got is probably the best answer. I like the big cast radiators, especially if I sit on. Yeah, big cast iron radiators, best spot in grandparents' house. Yeah, that was always good. Radiators were nice. Anyway, what I was saying, if somebody said to you, what's the best cassette deck in the world? I would say to you, it's the one you've got and that you're happy with, because that's a very politically correct answer. Anything I say other than that to you as a fan of the one you've got will obviously be contentious. But now, I know Kelvin's has currently got a Dragon, which is reputably one of the best in the world. But I've seen there's a few people who've got Tandbergs, which are very good. And there's a few other things which are also very good. But which one's best? Well, I would say, in Kelvin's case, the Dragon. And in the case of the guy... Hello, what's happened to my signal? Oh, it's back now. And in the case of the guy who's got the Tandberg, his one's the best because, he obviously went for it. So, anyway, those are the sorts of thoughts that I was coming up with. And the best of anything is all down to relative angles of looking at it. Right, so let's see, we've been going now for 44 minutes. So, unless you've got anything else to add, I guess we might as well wind it up there. Anybody got anything exciting coming on? or anything sort of generally technically interesting, or just an opinion on anything. Fisheries, the world, I don't know. Right, okay then, well what I'll do is, as I said to you earlier on, I did have a bad day today. Woke up at 9 o'clock, went back to sleep, woke up at 4 o'clock. That's 9 o'clock this morning, 4 o'clock this afternoon. So I wasn't expecting to do a live, but I did. I thought, it's time to say hello, reconnect. And, oh yes, now, there is you probably haven't seen it, there is a thumbnail on this video, which took if you ignore the words to the left-hand side, it took all of about 20 seconds to make. And if you've got an opinion on it, let me know, because I'd like you to put it down in the comments. What do you think on that thumbnail? I'm trying to find out a bit more about